Let's talk about suffering today. No, we don't like to admit it, especially if we're high achievers. But if you're entrenched in suffering, you are probably out of sync with your heart and your soul. I want you to take a second and look around at the relationships in your life right now. Is there toxicity? Is there misalignment? Are there arguments, constant chaos? Or are they filled with love, peace, and joy? If the answer is toxicity, then you need to watch this video. Because I realized something recently. We cannot possibly live our most authentic life, giving and sharing love the way we're meant to do if we're in deep suffering. I have been working with people one-on-one for years now, and I started to see a specific pattern in those who carry immense suffering. I used to wonder, as a constant giver myself, how come there are people who just take and take and take? And recently I was working with somebody and it hit me like a lightning bolt that there are some people who just lack the capacity to give back, right? And as I'm trying to build compassion in my heart for everyone, no matter what they're going through, no matter how they're reacting towards me, I realized that suffering takes up every ounce of energy that we have. It is a resource hog. We live in an ego-driven world that demands that we function despite our pain. No one hands you a prescription that says, you are suffering emotionally, take a month off and heal. So what do? We suppress it, we push it down, and we try to power through. That's what we've been taught. When we suppress suffering to function for our day-to-day things, we eventually act out from that suffering. Think about it. We're so exhausted from that act of keeping it all together that we have zero capacity left for compassion. Imagine this. If you are a patient in the ER, you cannot possibly help the person in the bed next to you. You are there to be saved, not to save someone else, right? But that's not how reality works, right? In our life, we're not given that time to process our emotions, feel what's coming up, and then move on. We're just going, running on empty. We'll push down our emotions and bury them so that we can continue to function and do the things that we're supposed to do. We don't have time to take breaks. We don't have time to sit down and deal with our emotions. We don't have anyone to help us do that. So what do? We try to parent our kids. We try to take care of our dogs. We take care of our families, our parents, and our work, and our teams, and our employees, and we're going through the motions day after day after day. And we think someday we'll have time and we'll take care of ourselves. And what happens is that stress and burnout have reached an all-time high. People are quitting jobs because they can't handle the stress because they're so overloaded with their personal emotional stress already. And so everyone around you is not receiving love and kindness and compassion from you. What they're receiving is your burnout. Let's look at a concrete example. Imagine a woman who is dealing with a difficult marriage and trying to get out of it. The husband is abusive emotionally and not able to show up for her. He decides to check out of this relationship. She decides to double down. She's burnt out from the relationship, but she feels that she can't leave. Maybe for financial reasons, maybe for the kids. So she functions. She continues to do what she needs to do every single day. She shows up to work, she pays the bills, she feeds the family, she cleans the house, she looks out for her parents. On the outside, she's doing it all. And people probably look at her and go, wow, she's figured everything out. She's managing it all so beautifully, right? We admire and we glorify being busy and overworked and stressed, right? How many times do you ask someone, how are you doing? And they tell you, oh, I'm so exhausted. And then you join them in your exhaustion. And then we compare notes, right? Who's more exhausted? Who's got more stress? Who's got more suffering? But guess what? When we're in this zone of suffering, we are giving love and compassion and kindness from this place of depletion. And what happens to children who are being raised in these emotionally unavailable homes or parents? They look for connection elsewhere. They might find it in unhealthy friendships or material things or even destructive behaviors. And then we start blaming the children and we say, you need to change yourself. You need to get better. You need to make better choices. But what are they craving? They are craving the love of emotionally available parents. And they have two parents, one who is checked out, one who is overworked and exhausted and depleted. So now they begin a dysfunction of their own. This cycle continues until someone, either one of the parents or the children, decides to put an end to it and says, I'm done. I cannot move on like this. I need help. And they either get help from a therapist or a coach or a guide who will give them the awareness that they need, until one person from this entire example decides to peel the layers of what is going on, feel the emotions that come up, feel that pain, and deal with it. They will not heal. And if they are not healing, there's nothing good coming out of it. Nobody is living their best authentic life, right? You cannot break this cycle without awareness. You cannot heal what you refuse to feel. If you are tired of running on empty, if you're tired of being this high-functioning burnout person, you need a space to reset. And I know that it's impossible to take time out of life to pay attention to your emotions. But if we don't start to do that now, we're going to end up in a really bad place where we're going to have to be in like the ER, an emotional ER, if you will, where you will be so burnt out and so depleted that you can't function. We don't want to get there. Let's try to find a place where we can come to heal, and let's do it bit by bit. This is kind of why we created Align. It's a community specifically for this. It's called Align. It is a space for inner growth and nourishment, where we stop pretending and start healing. I urge you to not wait until you are completely empty. Click the link in the description below and join us inside Align. Let's get you back in touch with your authentic self so that you can give true, real love to everyone who's around you. But first, you need to fill your own cup.